think this is a mistake. I can't do this. Forgot my coat. Hit me.
How about you? How was your day?
It's good. Don't do it, don't.
I have a facial at 12:30 at Georgiana's today.
Yes?
The movie begins with a woman named Connie, who is shopping for some household supplies at a supermarket. After getting everything she needs and heading outside, a powerful windstorm suddenly sweeps across the entire city. Connie has no idea what to do, and when she tries to hail a taxi to take her home, every driver refuses because of the severe weather. At that moment, Connie accidentally bumps into a young man named Paul, who is carrying a stack of books. They both fall to the ground, and their belongings are scattered across the street by the strong wind. After helping Connie up, Paul notices that she has injured her leg. He tells her that his apartment is nearby and offers to take her there so he can treat her injury and wait for the storm to calm down. Connie agrees and goes home with him. Once they arrive, Paul shows her where the bathroom is so she can clean the wound on her leg. After she comes out, he gently places ice on the injured area. It becomes clear that Paul is paying a great deal of attention to Connie, and she notices it, feeling quite embarrassed. A little later, when her leg starts feeling better and the storm finally settles down, Connie tells Paul that she has to leave. However, before she walks out, her attention is drawn to the large bookshelf in his apartment. Paul tells her that she is welcome to take any book she likes as a gift. Connie chooses a book, thanks him, and heads home. When Connie returns home, we learn that she is married to a businessman named Edward and has 2 sons. The next day, while reading the book Paul gave her, she discovers one of his business cards tucked inside. She takes his number from the card and calls him to thank him for helping her the day before. Paul tells her that he really didn't do much and invites her over for a cup of coffee at his apartment. Although Connie is hesitant at first, she eventually agrees. The next day, Connie visits Paul at his place. While he is preparing the coffee, she notices a book written in Braille. At that moment, Paul walks over to her and begins teaching her how to read using the Braille system. Connie feels incredibly comfortable around him, so much so that she doesn't want to leave at all. However, knowing that she is a married woman and afraid of becoming too emotionally attached, she excuses herself and goes home. But once she gets back, she can't stop thinking about him. She imagines him everywhere she goes, and it becomes clear that she has fallen in love with him. The following day, Connie returns to Paul's apartment. This time, she decides to give in to her feelings. The two spend time together, dancing to a romantic song, and it becomes obvious that Paul has developed feelings for her as well. As their relationship grows deeper, they cross a line that neither of them had intended to cross. Later, on her way home, Connie is overwhelmed with guilt. It is the first time she has ever betrayed her husband, and the realization completely breaks her. She bursts into tears and promises herself that what happened will never happen again. However, as the days pass, Connie notices that her husband pays little attention to her. He rarely asks how she is doing, and his work seems to be the only thing that matters to him. Because of this, she finds herself thinking about Paul once again. Eventually, she returns to his apartment and gives in to her feelings for him for a second time. Their relationship continues for quite a while, and the two spend many happy days together, going out, enjoying each other's company, and feeling happier than ever. Even so, every time Connie returned home, she felt overwhelmed with guilt because of her affair. Still, she kept convincing herself that Edward's neglect was what had pushed her into it. Over time, she started treating him the same way he had been treating her, cold and distant. One day, while Connie was getting dressed and making herself look beautiful before going out to meet Paul, Edward noticed. He suggested that the two of them spend the evening together, but Connie turned him down, claiming that she had a massage appointment. When Edward realized that his wife's behavior had changed dramatically, he decided to wait until she left the house before calling the massage center himself. To his surprise, the staff informed him that Connie had no appointment scheduled for that day. At that moment, Edward became certain that she had lied to him. Although he had no proof that she was being unfaithful, his suspicions continued to grow. Determined to uncover the truth, he hired a private investigator to keep an eye on her. That evening, while Connie and Edward were having dinner together, he casually told her that he would be leaving town for a few days on a business trip. Deep down, Connie was thrilled because she believed she would finally be free to spend time with Paul without worrying about getting caught. As soon as Edward left, Connie put on her most beautiful dress and went out with Paul. What she didn't know was that the investigator Edward had hired was secretly following her and taking photographs of the two together. Later, the investigator delivered the pictures to Edward. That's when we discover that Edward had never actually gone on a business trip. He had only told Connie that he was leaving so she would feel completely comfortable and reveal the truth on her own. Once Edward saw the photographs, all of his doubts disappeared. Now certain that his wife was having an affair, he went straight to Paul's apartment. Facing him directly, Edward spoke with complete honesty and said, "I know you're involved with my wife." When Edward asked Paul how he had met Connie, Paul explained that it had happened by chance. He then told him the entire story, starting with the day of the storm. As Edward listened, he learned that Paul had known from the very beginning that Connie was married and had children, yet he still chose to continue the relationship. That realization filled Edward with even more anger toward him. Then, Edward noticed something sitting inside Paul's apartment, a glass snow globe that he had once given Connie as a birthday gift. Seeing it, there was the final blow. To Edward, it wasn't just proof that his wife had betrayed him. It was proof that she had taken one of the most meaningful gifts he had ever given her and handed it over to another man. At that moment, Edward was completely devastated. As Paul stepped closer, seemingly trying to comfort him, Edward suddenly snapped. In a fit of rage, he grabbed the glass snow globe and struck Paul violently in the head. The blow was devastating, and Paul collapsed to the floor. For Edward, Paul's death felt like justice. In his mind, Paul was the man who had destroyed his family. Afterward, Edward carefully wiped his fingerprints from the glass object and deleted every message Connie had sent from Paul's phone to eliminate any evidence. He then cleaned the apartment thoroughly, making sure to remove any trace of his presence. Once everything was taken care of, Edward placed Paul's body in the trunk of his car and drove to a waste disposal site, where he abandoned the body. After that, he rushed back home, changed his clothes, and headed to his children's school event to watch their performance alongside Connie, who had been waiting for him there the entire time. For a while, life seemed to return to normal, but the peace didn't last long. One day, two detectives arrived at Connie's house and asked whether she knew a man named Paul. Trying to remain calm, Connie told them that she knew him only casually and claimed that she had occasionally bought books from him. When Connie asks the detectives what happened, they inform her that Paul has been missing for several days and that his wife and children have been searching for him. The moment Connie hears those words, she is stunned. Paul had never told her that he was married or had children. Realizing that he had hidden such an important part of his life leaves her completely shocked. Before leaving, the detectives tell Connie that if she remembers anything that might help them find Paul, she should contact them immediately. 2 weeks later, the detectives return to Connie's house. This time, Edward is there with her. The investigators reveal that Paul's body has been discovered at a waste disposal site. The news hits Connie like a ton of bricks. She is devastated by the loss of the man she loved, but with the detectives and her husband standing right in front of her, she cannot allow her grief to show. The detectives then explain that their investigation revealed Connie was the last person to call Paul before his death. Because of that, they need her to clarify the exact nature of her relationship with him. Before Connie can respond, Edward suddenly becomes angry. He tells the detectives that it is unacceptable for them to question his wife's character in front of him like that. He insists that she is a married woman with children and that their implications are completely inappropriate. The detectives respond by explaining that Connie's car received a parking ticket while parked near Paul's residence, which is why they consider her a person of interest in the case. At that point, Connie admits that her car was indeed parked there and that she did receive a ticket. However, she claims that she had been spending time with friends at a nearby cafe that day and had nothing to do with Paul. Edward then steps in once again and tells the detectives that his wife has already shared everything she knows. He firmly asks them not to question her any further. With no solid evidence linking Connie to the crime, the detectives eventually leave, unable to push the investigation any further for the time being. Later, after Connie goes to pick up Edward's clothes from the dry cleaners, she is shocked to discover photographs of herself and Paul hidden among them. In that moment, she realizes that Edward has known about their affair all along. When Connie returns home, she and Edward are hosting guests. During the visit, one of the guests picks up a glass snow globe sitting in the house and admires it for a moment. The instant Connie sees it, she freezes. It is the very same gift she had once given to Paul. Seeing the snow globe back in her own home sends a chill down her spine. She immediately looks at Edward, and for the first time, she begins to suspect that he may have been responsible for Paul's death. After the guests leave, Connie confronts her husband and demands to know what he has been hiding. Edward finally tells her the truth. He admits that he was the one who killed Paul. He claims that he did it to protect his home and preserve his family. But deep down, his anger was really directed at Connie. In his eyes, she had betrayed everything they had built together. Hearing the confession completely shatters Connie. She breaks down in tears, unable to defend herself or respond to what Edward has said. The distance between them grows, and neither of them knows how to move forward. The next day, Connie finds herself looking through an old photo album filled with memories of her life with Edward. As she turns the pages, she becomes overwhelmed by memories of the years they spent together and the family they created. Eventually, she picks up the glass snow globe Edward had once given her and studies it closely. While examining it, she notices a photograph hidden inside the base. The picture shows Connie, Edward, and their young son years earlier. On the back, Edward had written a heartfelt message expressing his love for her. The discovery affects Connie deeply. For the first time in a long while, she is reminded of the genuine love that once existed between them. And when Edward sees the regret and pain in Connie's eyes, he realizes that despite everything that has happened, a part of him still loves her. Later, Connie goes to Edward and sincerely apologizes for everything she has done. She begs him to forgive her, and after everything they've been through, Edward finally agrees. He forgives her and chooses to give their marriage another chance. However, Edward tells Connie that he has made a decision. He plans to turn himself into the police and confess that he was responsible for Paul's death. He believes it is the only way to ease his conscience and live with what he has done, but Connie refuses to accept that. She desperately pleads with him not to go through with it, reminding him that she and their children still need him. She begs him to stay with his family rather than throw his life away. Eventually, Edward changes his mind and agrees to listen to her. The two decide to leave the city behind and start over somewhere else. Together, they move away and begin a new chapter of their lives, hoping to rebuild what was broken and leave the past behind. But in the end, one question remains. Did Connie truly deserve a second chance? Or should her fate have been no different from Paul's? And with that, our movie comes to an end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story.